Dallas Cowboys are a mediocre football team, people.
Yeah,
Just straight up, mediocre football team. They are average at best, and I'm being nice. You're right.
Yeah,
I am being right. By saying that I'm nice, I'm right.
Well, I mean,
no. Listen, man, they are a mediocre football team, and they're in a way, kind of like the Jets, where they're a collection of parts looking for a sum. And when you go out on a Sunday night into a spot where a team is ripe for the picking just like you, and they are banged up just like you, potentially even more banged up than you, and they've been banging you up, knocking you out of the playoffs, knocking you down pegs in measuring stick games in the regular season, and you go up, and you go in there, and you start knocking people around, and Chris Collinsworth is in full here's a guy mode when you're starting to throw punches, I guess, or have a little bit of gumption in the middle of a special teams fight, and you're knocking people off the ball, and Zeke Elliott's actually, saying feed me, and he scores a touchdown on the ground, and you're winning, and then you come out of the locker room and you no-show in the third quarter. Once again, by the way, you want to talk about Cowboy bugaboos this year. The home, we all understand. The home field disadvantage that they have is one thing, where this game's a wrap by the first quarter. That we've seen. Cowboys have been outscored 61-19 in the third quarter this year.
Ooh.
So if you're not starting well at home in the first half, and then you're showing a little bit more fight on the road, and then you start getting outscored after halftime, which is, again, that's when those are the metrics that fans can point to and say that coaches are getting outcoached. That's where that can happen. But they can't run it. They can't protect it. They can't protect the football. They can't do any of that stuff. They can't do any of that stuff. And they lose when push comes to shove. Dak Prescott's out of answers. Here's what he had to say last night after the Cowboys gave up, 24 unanswered at one point?
I think so, yeah.
Made a game of it by actually finding CeeDee Lamb a couple times in the fourth quarter.
It was 10-3, and then it was 27 to 10.
27 to 10, and then the Cowboys actually had a shot at it. And then because the Niners backed off defensively. And then Dak Prescott had himself a fourth quarter against a different defense.
They backed off defensively? So
I think they did.
Teams do that. They just go, hey, we're going to let you come back.
Well, you play prevent.
That's what I meant.
Were they playing prevent?
I don't know. I mean, you think they were trying really hard?
All of a sudden, we act like, these guys get up by a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, and they stop playing football?
Well, you're acting like the Cowboys just flipped a switch and all of a sudden...
Well, I don't blame him for trying to hang his hat on something, because the way that I'm laying it out, this looks like a complete flat team, average team that can't run it, can't protect it, and I'll give some numbers about that in a second. I don't blame you for having that pushback, TJ. I mean, listen...
And also,
they are grown-ass men, and he did find CeeDee Lamb a couple times in the end zone, but when it all came down to it and he had it back one last time, the Niners started buzzing around and started sticking to people like wallpaper, and they went 4 and out. And this is what he had to say afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't made the plays, and they've made them more than us. As you said, right, it's been a couple years, a couple times. It's frustrating. I've got to make the plays, period.
Yeah, you got to make the plays, period. Here's the issue. Cowboys have a -8 turnover differential right now. That's the third worst in the NFL entering tonight's game. Only the Titans and the Raiders, they're 1-6 and 2-6 are worse, with negative Baker's dozen, -13. In terms of running the football, the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL rate the dreaded DFL. Absolute last. 74 yards a game they were averaging on the ground. And they're putting it on the arm of Dak Prescott, who now has 2 interceptions in each of his last 3 starts. First time in his career he's ever done that. He leads the NFL with 4 games with 2 or more interceptions. It's inefficient. He's only got a passer rating of 100 in one of his last 7 starts, and that one game was against the Giants in week 4. So they don't protect the football. They can't run the football. And here's the biggest problem for him. Because, it's just 7 games. And they're just 3-4. Just one game under 500. Not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. But you look at their schedule over the next 4 weeks, and they face 4 opponents who are combined 21-9. They're at Atlanta, which is feeling good about itself. They just swept the Bucs. They're sitting in the top of the NFC South, where the Saints and the Panthers have fallen and cannot get up, and the Bucs are banged up. Falcons ready to just lay it on the Cowboys in front of their home folks and show that they are NFC contenders. Then the Eagles, who have now won 3 in a row and feeling good about themselves in week 10. That's at home, where, as you know, they get blown out before halftime. Then there's a Monday night at home against the AFC South leading Houston Texans, who would love to lay down a calling card for the entire Lone Star State to see. And then they're at Washington, which is in first place in the NFC East thanks to that shocking Hail Mary, which we'll talk about later in the program, against the Bears. That Giants game can't come around fast enough in week 13, Thursday night. Or, Thanksgiving, There you go. That's the problem. I think Cowboys need to make a move for something. I don't know. Getting Micah back, getting Tank back, playing defense. I don't know. Is there they call up Dalvin Cook? I don't know what the answer is. They're just an average football team. And the last time the Dallas Cowboys were under 500 through 7 games was 2020. They missed the playoffs. Dak got injured that year. They went 6-10.
They'll be lucky to win 6 games this year.
Well, I still think they're an incredibly talented roster, but we always thought they weren't deep enough. And I do hope, TJ, that you are right, that what we saw in the fourth quarter with CeeDee Lamb is a nice spark for your team.
Oh, I didn't say it was going to be a spark.
Oh, well, no, it was something. Okay.
No. Right. I didn't say that. I'm like, you're right. This team's mediocre. We've known this. We knew this all offseason. We pounded the table.
We were sensing it.
Yeah, but our whole story was they didn't do enough. They didn't do anything to improve the team. So
but they were a 12-win team.
That's fine. In a row. But, Chris, when everyone else around you gets better and you do nothing to get better and you're losing players, how's that? That's not helping you. You're not getting better that way.
We all sensed the all-in strategy meant take the team that you just won 12 games with again and supplement them with stars like Derrick Henry or DeAndre Hopkins or somebody like that in free agency, or you make a bold move in trading, or you do get one of these many talented running backs or wide receivers that are available in the draft. Instead, they hit the lines, and none of it seems to be working out right now. And Jerry's about to start paying $100 million to a wide receiver quarterback combination that is not connecting enough to overcome every other mistake that's being made. That's the state of Dallas Cowboys through 8 weeks of the 2024 all-in season. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.